So I've been seeing a ton of people going nuts over my adventures with Superman on my YouTube feed. And honestly, this has got me more confused than Elon Musk trying to act like a normal human being. Okay, so here's the real deal, folks. My adventures with Superman was clearly not designed with my extremely sophisticated tastes in mind.
3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily, shake it over rice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
Wait, wrong clip.
You don't give up, you keep going, okay? You let it run.
Okay, that's more like it. But that's okay. I've watched the first 4 episodes, and you know what? There's definitely something missing. In terms of an art form, it felt flat enough for me to make at least a 10-minute video about this, and heck, maybe 20 minutes if I'm not too consumed with laziness here. But anyways, in my attempt to give this show a fair chance, I thought to myself, maybe I'm just missing the bigger picture. Or more like, I'm staring at the trees but missing the forest type of thing. And then also, you know, missing the lumberjacks and also the picnic basket and the wolf. I don't know. You get my point. So here's the thing. I'm one of those people who overanalyzes everything. I'm the kind of person who's going to question a sponge living under the sea. You get my point. So I'm going to try to break down this show as best I can in an unbiased kind of format. But there's definitely bias here.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
But those are the particular things that I bring to the table and my unique opinion. So that said, while I was trying to see this show through a different lens and try and understand this whole thing, I came across a fancy picture. This picture right here.
Who am I?
Clark!
Which gave off a certain vibe, a certain what the kids call aesthetic. And then the inner shitty artist in me, well, that shitty artist had an aha moment. So that inspired me to dust off some old books, and I went to work trying to sound smart. Anyways, I was trying to be a proper nerd for a few hours. Nope, that's a lie. I gave it about 15 minutes and I got really bored. Forgive me.
5 minutes later.
Anyways, it's always been about the Greeks. It always will be about the Greeks. That's because, you know, we live in a Western society and I went to school in... So back to the story. You see, the Greeks had a fancy word which we have simplified because who could bother to say aestheticus or whatever this shit is? Anyways, the word today is aesthetic. So back in the philosophical ancient Greek times, aesthetic was all about perception, feeling, the sensation. It was anything you could sense. But now the Zoomers done stole the word, and so nowadays aesthetic has become more about expressing a vibe or a style. Like, bro, I be vibing with that. That's so aesthetic. See, that was me trying to act cool. Anyways, that's embarrassing. So the aesthetic around this show seems to be pretty hipster in nature, kind of like youth redefining their own style, kind of taking Superman and making him their own, which I have no problem with. It's like the vintage aesthetic or the minimalist aesthetic. But I guess you could say this is like the new adventures of Superman aesthetic. Basically this. This is future Kenny, but after I pulled the script, I went and watched Man of Steel again. This shit is fucking great. Back to present Kenny. See, the thing is, that might not have been your Superman, but it was definitely my Superman. You see, I personally don't care about Lois's new haircut or Clark and his new sweet hipster satchel, or that he's this badass beefcake, if that's the right word to be using here. But, if you're into this show, and you've been raving about it, and you've been listening to those reviews, all these things probably mean a lot to you, which is aesthetic. Oh, by the way, while I was looking for character sheet templates for a new anime I was working on, I found this. I'm just saying, it's kind of already out there. I mean, it's really close. It's really, really close. Look, I get nothing is original at this point, but this is like really, really close. All right, so before I go full Gordon Ramsay on this thing, I just want to take a moment to honor some of the nice things that the show has to offer.
Let that be a reminder of what you've achieved in this competition.
All right, first off, Lois. She's taking leaps of faith. She's trying things out. She is gambling on her career, which I think, you know, in terms of writing and journalism, especially right around now, it's probably a really important thing to do. You know, we know that Lois is definitely top 1% of her craft. And to be the top 1% of your craft, you do need to take a ton of chances. And this is definitely well reflected in her character here. So I gotta give a shout out to the voice actress or actor, whatever the proper word is nowadays for Lois. So Alice Lee did a great job here. Look, there's a few hiccups in there, of course, but nobody's perfect, not even auto-tune. All right, and then there's Jimmy, who you know and love, but he's been reimagined as some kind of Fox Mulder type character hunting for truth amidst the aliens and the extraordinary. There is kind of a small third wheel setup scene that looks pretty promising. That is if they take their time to maybe give it an entire episode to pay off.
With 3 best friends.
It could be promising for sure, but based on what I've seen, I'm definitely not holding my breath. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I didn't like about my adventures with Superman. So if you want to stay inside of your own little safe space and you don't value dissenting opinions, now is your chance to grab some bubble wrap or just get out of here and save yourself that rage comment. All right, you've been warned. Shit, fuck my life. There's already a word for this. Trigger warning.
You in denial?
Fuck you. China.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, so first things first, I think the creators were probably a little bit too eager to make Superman accessible to the crowd of people that probably just have no interest in the superhero genre. But in the process, they end up watering down the story, making it less Star Trek and more Star Wars. But in simpler terms, they just traded the complexity and the depth of the superhero genre for, well, aesthetic. This, of course, on its own is not inherently a bad thing. In fact, I think strategically it's a great idea. Get Superman to more people. But honestly, if you don't know who Superman is by now, it's kind of like the most recognized symbol in the world. Anyways, while strategically it's a great idea, I think in execution it misfires quite a bit. Of course, it doesn't stumble all the time, and honestly, it's quite average. But the thing is, at its core, it makes me feel like the show just lacks overall common sense. So with all this misfiring here, there's just not enough for true fans of the superhero genre to stick around. See, this is definitely more slice of life than it is All-Star Superman or Superman Man of Tomorrow, which again, I have no problem with, but for me personally, I would just rather, I don't know, watch any of these slice of life animes. So I had a lot of problems with the show, but definitely my biggest gripe was that you have 2 probably college grads here. So let's call it 22, 20 if they graduated early, 18 if they're geniuses, fine, but they're acting like little kids. Thing is, this can work, but not with Superman. So look at Young Justice, for instance. Season 1 and 2 were masterpieces. And why am I bringing up Young Justice? So you see, Superman and Lois act like kids, but the thing is, they're adults. So this doesn't work. And I did a little digging, and it looks like a lot of the writers came from She-Ra, and it definitely shows here.
How many fucking scoops you need to take before you realize it's shit?
I don't know. I don't get it. But let's compare this to Young Justice, because the kids in Young Justice are supposed to be teens, but they're wise beyond their years, and sometimes taking the adults to task, even the Justice League. And again, they're supposed to be teens. I think the oldest of them is Artemis, which probably is 18, 19, 20. Instead, we see Lois, who is...
Senator Sackett! Lois Lane, the Daily Planet. Do you have a comment on the allegations that your re-election campaign is taking bribes from special interest groups?
Shit, wait. This is definitely gonna blow the production budget for this video. Ah, fuck it. Let's compare the interactions with adults. Now keep in mind, Young Justice, these kids are teenagers. Actually. And Clark and Lois are young adults.
Round 1, fight!
And Kat wants you 3 to get pictures of the event and quotes about Ivo from the people attending.
Wait. Are you saying you want us to do real journalism?
Just for tonight.
Our first assignment from the chief!
Don't call me Chief. And it's just for tonight.
Anything you want, Chief! Yes!
Don't make me regret this.
You handle that.
And we handle Neutron, right?
Right. Wait, his name's Neutron?
Yeah, sure. Heard him shout it. You know, like bad guys do. I'm Neutron. All of you will die. Anyway, what's the plan?
New interns, out. Old intern, stay. You do not report the news. You do not leave this building. Your job is to teach the interns how to scan things and make coffee. That's it.
Mr. White, for the good of
For
Metropolis.
the good of me, you need to stop coming in with these wild ideas. Do what I tell you to do. Lane, this is your last chance.
Cadmus will be investigated. All 52 levels. But let's make one thing clear.
You should have called.
End results aside, we are not happy. You hacked Justice League systems, disobeyed direct orders, and endangered lives. You will not be doing this again.
I am sorry, but we will. Aqualad, stand down. Apologies, my king. But no. We did good work here tonight. The work you trained us to do. Together, on our own, we forged something powerful. Important.
But this is about your treatment at the hall? The three of you.
The four of us. And it's not.
Batman, we're ready to use what you taught us. Or why teach us at all?
Clark! You're all right. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you my plan to interview Superman. I put you in danger because of it, and I...
It's okay, Lois. I know how important this is for you. And I promise, from here on out, I'll do whatever I can to help you get that interview.
Actually, I just got it.
I finally become leader and wind up sending all of my friends to their deaths. I know I did what I had to, but I hated it. When we started this team, I was desperate to be in charge. Not anymore. And that's not even the worst of it. You can't tell Batman. Nothing leaves this room. I always wanted, expected, to grow up and become him. And the hero bit, I'm still all in. But that thing inside of him, the thing that drives him to sacrifice everything for the sake of his mission, that's not me. I don't want to be the Batman anymore.
But then I got small gripes left and right for days, like, why is Superman wearing glasses even before he needs an alter ego to protect? Like, he doesn't really know he's Superman. I mean, he knows he's strong, but not that he's Superman. He's flying around in a cape. So why does he even need glasses here? And then what's with Martha here grunting? Is she trying to communicate with apes or something? And of course, I just want to make fun of the transformation. I'm really indifferent about it. It's fine, but I made it short, so I'm going to plug it here. All right, Superman's over budget. I need some ideas. You, what do you do?
I'm the accountant.
Accounting? Perfect. What's your idea?
Well, sir, given 1 minute of animation costs $20,000, $5,000 for 15 seconds of animation. If you could put 15 seconds of animation in every episode, the same animation that is, over 24 episodes, that's $120,000.
Oh, and by the way, Lois lies. No, I mean, she's straight up a liar, and she actually really doesn't get called out on this at all. And in fact, she gets love and affection for it. I've seen decades-long relationships in real life ruined for this kind of thing. But I guess Clark is so desperate that he's like, I guess it was an oops, my bad moment for Lois. And finally, let's talk about the love story. The love story definitely feels really forced here, and it left me feeling like the relationships only work if these characters have never seen a member of the opposite sex before.
What is love?
Or like never logged on Tinder. It's neat and all, but it doesn't feel genuine given the target market. Anyways, every relationship is different, and no two people who love each other will communicate in the same way. So I wasn't a fan of the dialogue between them, but I really can't hold it against the show. Dialogue's dialogue. This is probably how normal people act. I don't know. That's not how I act. Okay, here's the moment where I want to actually pause the humor because, quite frankly, Superman was definitely one of my favorite characters growing up. While all the cool kids didn't even read comics, and the other nerds were being edgelords and reading Batman, I was definitely reading Superman. See, the beauty of the superhero storytelling lies in its ability to leverage fantastical elements to convey seriously profound human truths. Take, for instance, the Odyssey, a hero's long and fraught journey home, or maybe the myth of Prometheus, a story exploring the consequences of defying the gods for the betterment of humanity. Stories like that only work through the fantastical worlds that they are told in. See, the thing is, the story of my adventures with Superman can serve as a reflection of the challenges and triumphs of navigating a world that balances the ordinary and the extraordinary, the mundane, the magical, the human, and the superhuman. Regrettably, this show fails to capitalize on that potential. Instead, it delivers a series that's too invested in aesthetics and abstraction, resulting in a watered-down narrative that neglects the complexities of the superhero genre that us nerds have come to appreciate. This analysis brings me to the uncomfortable final question, which is, why use the world of Superman?
Ready for me to bust the story wide open?
No, Lois, you're an intern.